Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. Watch my video and subscribe my channel. Sheila forces confession after Lee tells Finn Luna's truth. Lee Finnegan is seen concealing Luna Nozoa, who is in a coma, in Bold and the Beautiful. Soon after, Sheila Carter comes very near to learning the truth. The dilemma is whether Sheila will force Lee to reveal the startling reality to their son Finn after learning that Luna is still alive. We'll discuss Sheila's response to Luna's survival and why she might believe Finn should be informed that his daughter is still alive and that Lee should come clean. The reason for Luna's survival and Sheila's suspicion in Bold and the Beautiful. Sheila meets Lee at the end of this week. Additionally, the two are somewhat taken aback by the outcome of that meeting. Sheila might catch Lee with Luna at this point. We are aware that Sheila is fed up with Lee's refusal to provide information regarding where she buried Luna or where she scattered her ashes. I could definitely picture Sheila pursuing Lee in an attempt to find answers, because Lee is acting so shady. At that point, Sheila might arrive at the location where Lee is tending to Luna, who is unconscious. Since this would resemble a reenactment of the entire Finn scenario, Lee would undoubtedly be shocked to see Sheila at the door. At least for the time being, Lee is determined to keep Luna's survival a secret from everyone. Sheila's special role in the Luna mystery and Lee's tests. When Lee told her sister Poppy Nozoa that Luna was dead at the hospital, I thought she was testing her. I believe Lee wanted to tell Poppy that Luna wasn't truly dead and to see if she had any regrets. That didn't work out. After Luna apparently passed away, I also thought Lee was trying Finn to see if he was relieved like Poppy or if he regretted losing his daughter. But it's not hateful. To test the waters with Sheila, I believe Lee also made an appearance at Il Giardino. The three of them, Poppy, Sheila, and Finn. Only Sheila, I believe, passed Lee's test. She has yet to come clean, though. Sheila's astonishment and emotional reaction to Luna's survival. Sheila would be shocked to discover Lee with Luna. Her granddaughter Luna's passing has crushed her at the moment. So, it would be fantastic for Sheila to find Luna and Lee alive, but unconscious. Sheila would be angry with Lee for lying and making everyone believe Luna was dead. But I also believe that Sheila would completely see Lee's reasoning for feeling the need to conceal the fact that Luna survived on Bold and the Beautiful. Since Sheila is an exception to the rule, she might be angry that Lee kept the secret from her. She won't tell Steffi Forrester or flee to the police. Lee's ability to rescue Luna's life and the fact that the death story was untrue will make Sheila very happy. Numerous people are claimed to be dying, which is wrong. Sheila's will to assist and Lee's pressure to tell Finn the truth. Even while Sheila may be irritated that Lee misled her about their granddaughter, I do believe that her primary response will be one of relief and thankfulness. Regardless of whether Lee accepts the assistance or not, I believe Sheila will then want to be active in Luna's recovery. Sheila might also put pressure on Lee to inform Finn that Luna is still alive, in my opinion. However, since Finn might tell Steffi, Lee might explain to her the drawbacks of it. He may even inform the police. We all know that once Steffi returns to town, she would stop at nothing to put her stepdaughter in jail if she finds out that Luna is still alive. This is quite understandable. Not a Luna fan. She is a lone killer who uses her horrible mother as an excuse. In all likelihood, Finn may likewise be extremely concerned about Steffi's safety and conclude that Luna ought to be imprisoned. Sheila, however, might believe that he wouldn't hand her up to the police. That would be foolish faith, in my opinion. Since Luna is ultimately Finn's daughter and he is mourning her passing, I could understand Sheila having it. Sheila might believe that he should be aware that Luna is still alive and being cared for by Lee. Finn is also a doctor. Given that Luna is still unconscious and has been on Bold and the Beautiful for so long, Sheila would believe he could assist Lee in trying to save her. Lee's reluctance to share the storyline's future and Luna's survival. Sheila might start pressuring Lee to tell Finn after she has come to terms with the reality that Luna is still alive. It makes sense to me that Lee would shut Sheila down. Lee is probably thinking that she will ultimately inform Finn. But why inform anyone right now when Luna is asleep and everyone is so fresh about the shootings. We are aware that Lisa Yamada had to take a break from Bold and the Beautiful in order to film her upcoming Amazon Prime movie. In order for Lisa to resume recording, Luna must stay unconscious for a short while. Luna should be awake for September episodes, which are only a few weeks away, according to the latest information. When Sheila finds out that Luna is still living, I do worry if she will be able to keep it to herself. Sheila probably wouldn't tell Deacon Sharp because he won't be pleased to hear it. I do wonder, though, if Sheila will be able to keep her mouth shut and hide it from Finn, or if she will break and tell him when Luna is unconscious. Sheila might be able to keep the secret, in my opinion. Lee will probably do all in her power to conceal the fact that Luna survived. It's terrible enough if Sheila forces her way into the scenario. "Look, I can just move Luna and you'll never find her," Lee will likely say, drawing a line in the sand. Lee might also propose a middle ground. She will allow Sheila to assist her in caring for Luna. They can then decide what and when to inform Finn after their grandchild is steady and conscious. Sheila and Lee's possible bond and Luna's redemption story. Sheila might have to make do with helping Lee look after Luna and then wait for Lee to change his mind about telling their son Finn about his daughter. Given their shared goal of saving Luna, Sheila and Lee may even begin to get along and eventually put aside their past hostility toward Jack Finnegan. We never see Jack since he has long since left. Anything is conceivable if Steffi can come to terms with Sheila and acknowledge that she is a hero for saving Steffi's life. Sheila and Lee can talk about it when Luna wakes up, and then they can bring Finn in to show him that his daughter is alive. Then, of course, what is the question? Luna will be sent to prison if the police discover she is still alive. That might be Lee's last strategy. Perhaps she spared Luna's life, but she wants her to take responsibility and change, and accept the repercussions of her behavior. She does not, however, wish for her death. Given how sympathetic Lee has been to Luna, the shooting, and all that has been happening with Poppy, I have a hunch that Lee might not want Luna behind bars. We shall see. Lee claims that Poppy is solely to blame for Luna's development. Perhaps Bold and the Beautiful will begin a redemption arc for Finn's daughter once she awakens. Or, as everyone in LA despises or fears Luna, especially Steffi, they may simply send her away to begin a new life elsewhere. When Luna awakens, we'll see if she stays to either make amends or continue to frighten people. Sheila breaks into Lee's hideout. Luna's grandmothers argue over startling finding. Spoilers for the Bold and the Beautiful suggest that Sheila Sharp would storm into Lee Finnegan's hiding place. Are the grandmothers of Luna and Nozawa going to quarrel over a startling discovery? After what appeared to be Luna's death at the hospital, Sheila is already obsessed with learning what happened to her. Sheila wants to visit Luna's burial or see her urn in order to find closure because she was unable to say goodbye. Fans of B&B are aware that Luna was neither cremated nor buried. Sheila will eventually find out that Lee staged Luna's death and is currently caring for her in a secret location. According to the most recent spoilers, that may actually occur in the August 7th episode. What if Sheila takes the initiative and follows Lee? It turns out that both Sheila and Lee will be surprised by their impending encounter. At the conclusion of this spying operation, Sheila would anticipate finding Luna's ashes or burial place. Rather, Sheila might discover Luna unconscious in the medical hideout that Lee has prepared. Lee and Sheila are going to be shocked, and that would definitely explain why. They might be preparing for a spectacular confrontation if Sheila ambushes Lee and discovers for herself that Luna is still alive. Lee would say that Sheila would simply leave the door and act as though she didn't witness anything if she ever cared about Luna. Lee doesn't need Sheila to muck things up because it's obvious that she wants to keep Luna's survival a secret. Sheila would contend that since Lee can't be with Luna all the time, she will require assistance. As a former nurse, Sheila might insist on assisting Lee with Luna's private care. Lee might protest during a furious argument with Sheila before finally giving in. If Sheila has all the cards following this Luna revelation, Lee won't really have much say in the matter. as long as she can contribute to Luna's recovery. Sheila might swear she won't tell anyone. In the dim light of a sterile room deep within an abandoned private clinic, Lee Finnegan secretly acquired under a pseudonym. The steady hum of machines filled the air, broken only by the soft, rhythmic beeping of a heart monitor, the one attached to Luna Nozua, the granddaughter of the world believed dead. There's even a chance that all the chaos of this argument will finally wake Luna up and leave her surprised over her grandma's fighting over her, unaware that her body had been thrown into a political storm of decades-old secrets, anguish, remorse, and familial betrayal. Luna lay unconscious, her pale face calm. As she attended to the fore and kept an eye on her vitals, Lee worked with quiet precision, noticing the subtle but encouraging indications of brain activity. Every twitch of Luna's fingers and every flicker in the EEG gave Lee hope that her niece would wake up one day, maybe to redemption and a second chance rather than handcuffs and punishment. However, Lee was under increasing pressure from both inside and outside the company the longer she maintained the secret, and that strain would soon blow up. Under the pretense of grief, Lee had been testing those closest to the catastrophe for weeks in a careful, psychological game. She watched every movement of her lips, every pause in her breathing, to decide whether she deserved to tell her sister Poppy that Luna was dead. Poppy was unsuccessful. Lee found it disgusting that she implicitly blamed others for Luna's spiral into lunacy, and her grief felt theatrical. Finn also provided little consolation when she faced him with tactful inquiries disguised as mother consolation. His anguish was genuine, but his determination was too similar to Steffi's, too devoted to the Forrester clan, who had already demonized Luna. Lee was afraid that he would reveal the secret. However, Sheila Carter's response was different. She now claims to be reformed and is mourning the death of her sole biological grandchild. At Aiel Giardino, Lee came up to her pretending that they were both grieving, and she was shocked by what she saw. Sheila refrained from being angry, accusatory, or manipulative. She lost it. She cried. It was unvarnished and human. Lee wondered if Sheila was the only person she could trust, even though she hated herself for ever considering it. Sheila Carter, however, was not a fool. She also thought Lee's measured sorrow was strange for some reason. Sheila was familiar with grief, and what she observed in Lee was not comparable to the subdued destruction of a grandmother lamenting the future of her family or a mother who had lost her niece. Sheila had been excluded from Luna's memorial, refused entry to the urn, and never seen an autopsy or death certificate. Something was wrong, her instincts told her. From afar, she followed Lee to a remote storage facility on the outskirts of Los Angeles County. Sheila slipped near enough to witness Lee leaving with a bag of medical waste and gloves on. That was sufficient. Days later, Sheila followed her once more, arriving just in time to see Lee opening the private clinic. With perplexity in her heart and rage in her voice, she waited until Lee was inside before rushing through the doors. "Lee, what are you concealing?" she insisted. "Where is Luna?" Then she appeared, Luna, alive, unconscious and bruised, but still breathing, hooked up to equipment. Sheila felt the impact like a freight train. Her knees gave way, tears welled up in her eyes, and quiet sobs heaved in her chest. "You told lies," she muttered. "You gave me the impression she was gone." Stone-faced, Lee remained silent for a while. Then, with a barely audible whisper, she murmured, "I had to." But Sheila was not paying attention. She staggered over to Luna, touching her granddaughter's cheek with a shaky hand. "My baby, she's alive." Lee and Sheila's relationship was irrevocably altered by those remarks. What started out as a war of silence, sorrow, and mistrust turned into an uncomfortable partnership. Sheila turned to Lee, simultaneously grateful, angry, and desperate. "How much time?" she inquired. "Weeks," Lee acknowledged. "Since the shooting incident. The hospital personnel declared her brain dead, but I couldn't believe that." Sheila's head was full of questions, so she removed her off the system, stabilized her here, and has been taking care of her by herself. "Why tell lies? Why should we all be grieving? Why did Finn believe that his daughter had left? Lee's voice grew stern. Because I don't believe in him, or Poppy, or Steffi. Not Steffi in particular. Luna would have been detained, charged, and buried in headlines as a monster if word had gotten out. I desired to hold off, to check if she was awake, to determine whether there was any chance of atonement. Sheila, however, wasn't going to leave it sit. Finn is entitled to know. Her father is him. He is inconsolable. He would like to assist. Lee shook her head. It's over if Finn tells Steffi. She would also insist on locking Luna up, you know. I refused to allow that to occur. Not just yet. Sheila took a deep breath, her voice trembling with passion. Then allow me to assist you. I'll keep it a secret. I'm not going to speak. However, you can't do this by yourself. I work as a nurse. I can assist you in caring for her. Lee initially declined. Then the real world arrived. She was worn out. It had been weeks since she had slept through the night. Despite her shortcomings, Sheila had medical experience. Above all, she had a real affection for Luna. All right, Lee responded. But I'll move her, and you won't see her ever again if you betray me, if you even hint at this to Deacon or anybody else. Thus began the most improbable partnership in Los Angeles. In order to nurse back the girl they both loved, two grandmothers, one a violent ex-con and the other a discredited doctor, are collaborating covertly. Sheila was remarkably skilled. She sang softly, read fashion magazines to Luna, and tenderly cleansed her face. She claimed to have seen Luna twitch. She said she hears us. She knows we're here. The plot changed in the weeks that followed while Lisa Yamada's character stayed unconscious off-screen. Sheila and Lee started talking. Regarding Jack, concerning Finn, regarding the past. And a tenuous ceasefire developed gradually. She was still not trusted by Lee. However, she started to comprehend her. And Sheila started to hope that she could do one decent thing for the first time in years. Perhaps devastation wasn't her goal. Perhaps it was to aid Luna's awakening. Lee struggled with her mounting guilt in the meantime, unaware that his mother was concealing his daughter in a back room on the outskirts of the city. Finn tried to get back in touch with her by calling her every day, unaware that Luna's destiny was now a secret being fiercely guarded rather than a mystery. Poppy continued to call as well. What about Steffi? Unaware that the girl she detested might one day return, she was still out of town. On the bold and the beautiful, however, secrets are never kept hidden. Luna's machines beeped erratically one night. Her gaze flitted. Sheila let out a gasp. Lee, she yelled. She is awakening, and after that nothing. Nothing but quiet. Luna had shifted, just a little, but it was there. Once more, her fingers twitched. She opened her mouth. A low moan came out. She was returning. Overwhelmed, they both started crying. Lee touched Luna's forehead with a chilly hand. Return to us, she muttered. Please. Sheila looked to her at that very time. Now is the moment. We must inform Finn. Lee paused. No, not quite yet. Until she is steady, no. Sheila's voice broke. Luna will be gone if Steffi finds out. However, Finn is her dad. Lee's eyes filled with tears. He deserves the truth. And I deserve a little peace before the storm. Finn was standing outside the beach home across town, gazing at a picture of Luna, not realizing that the tides of fate were going to turn once more. And every family in Los Angeles will be rocked when the truth is revealed, when Finn learns that his daughter survived and that the ladies he trusted the most betrayed him. Will Luna awaken to anger or forgiveness? Will he be praised as a criminal or a hero? And is it possible for Sheila Carter, the most infamous antagonist in B&B history, to save someone rather than ruin them? A reckoning is promised in September. But for the time being, hope hovers in the air like a whispered secret, ready to rise, in a secret room where two grandmothers keep watch over a sleeping girl.